रोशनी डालना चाहेंगे आप?
कास्टिंग और कॉस्ट्यूम?
कास्टिंग और कॉस्ट्यूम?
कास्टिंग
पे बहुत ध्यान दिया जाता है, तो आपने कास्टिंग कैसे यूज करी? So because मैं पिक्चर इंग्लैंड में बनाती हूँ, इंग्लैंड भी, अमेरिका भी, फ्रांस में भी मैंने बनाई है पिक्चर. So as a director, I think very internationally. So for me, the casting of this film was really about finding the right actors from all over the world who I felt could portray those characters. So for Denzel, I mean, he had played Jinnah before and had done an amazing job. So that was easy for me to cast Denzel. Neeraj Kabi was an amazing Gandhi. I had seen him play Gandhi before. So that was important. For Nehru, I wanted to cast a British actor who was in my film Baji on the Beach, Tanveer, and I cast him because I felt he really looked like Nehru, and I thought it was important for Indian audience that the historical leaders, the actors who played them, had a resemblance to them. In England, when Pamela Mountbatten, she's still alive, when she saw the film, she loved the film, but her only complaint was that Hugh Bonneville was much larger than her father. So even though Hugh had all the charm of Mountbatten and the slight self-deprecation, वो थोड़ा सा दुबला था, तकड़ा था. And I like also Manish Dayal. I had seen in 100 Foot Journey. Manish, who plays Jeet, he's American. He's from North Carolina, and he has a very American accent. So it was interesting to see him play with Huma because Huma is from here. She's playing opposite a boy from North Carolina. But the challenge for me as a director is to bring both their performances together. And I've done this before. I did this with Anupam Kherji in Ben Delight Beckham. And yeah, it's an interesting thing for me as a director to think of actors as characters as opposed to stars.
डी न्यूज़ दिस साइड. फिल्म बहुत खूबसूरत लग रही है, ट्रेलर बहुत ही प्यारा है, लग रहा था कि उसी एरा में चले गए हैं. लेकिन इन दिनों देश की बात हो रही है, जीएसटी लागू हुआ है, फिल्म बिजनेस पे भी इसका इफेक्ट है. मुझे रहमान साहब से सवाल पूछना है. रहमान जी, कैसे लगता है किस तरह से इफेक्ट करेगा फिल्म इंडस्ट्री को ये?
I don't understand the Hindi.
जीएसटी किस तरह से इफेक्ट करेगा?
आप मुझको इंग्लैंड का टैक्स के बोलो. माय गॉड, वो हमको इतना टैक्स देना पे हमको इतना खराब लगता है एवरी जनवरी. I'm sorry, I don't. It's not relevant to the music launch of the film.
Last question over here.
Yeah, Huma. Hi, this is Monica from Bollywood. Since this topic is on partition, recently I read an article, where you have asked to change your name since this belonged to some Pakistani actress. So can you just throw some light on it?
आप कहाँ पढ़ लेते हो ये सब? I think these are just, it doesn't really matter. I mean, a lot of people are, so a lot of actors have changed their name before. It's not really a communal issue, so I don't think you should make it that really.
Thank you.
And before we wrap up, I've got an...
Hi, when I was talking to Gurinder a few days back, she said she was mighty impressed with what you had sent to her when she was casting for the film. So...
So you say that again?
Huma.
Where are you?
Here.
You're right.
No, you told me when you were casting for the film and whatever stuff Huma had sent to you, you were mighty impressed with her performance. So Huma, can you tell us something about your experience doing this film and what went into it?
Okay.
Well, I'm just grateful to be part of such a lovely film. It's a very important film, and I think that is why I feel blessed that this film is saying something really important that we seem to have forgotten, even 70 years after India's independence and partition, which is not to forget about love and humanity. And I think, no matter which side of the border you're on, it's an important lesson to remember.
Right, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. And with this, before we wrap up, just one last question. Yes, you want to say something? मुझे वहाँ से इशारा आया. Mr. Sarkar, this one's for you. When you saw the rushes, क्या वो पहली चीज थी, apart from this topic, apart from this subject, जो आपको ऐसा किया कि हाँ हमको एसोसिएट होना है इस फिल्म के साथ?
So, just to give a perspective, we didn't get associated post the rushes. We have been associated with this film for last almost 2 years,
Ji.
2.5 years
Ji.
before the script came. And Reliance is not only distributing the film, we have been a producer along with Pathé, BBC, BFI, all these companies. So, as I was mentioning earlier, that very few times that we are a filmmaking companies, we make different kind of films, but very few times you get a script where you feel proud to be associated. Where, of course, as a filmmaking company, we have our commercial interest, but at the same point of time, in a decade, some kind of films come where you feel proud that we should get associated with it and look for the commerce later. So I think we are all hoping that this film will be like that, and it has already released in UK as well as in Australia, Malaysia, and fingers crossed it will do wonder.
Of course. Let me.
I want to say
congratulate you.
something.
Yeah, please.
I think for me, as a British filmmaker, British Indian filmmaker, I was working with BBC, British Film Institute, Pathé, and for me it was a great support having Reliance with me on this film, because it's the first time I've worked with an Indian, co-producer on one of my films, which, as you know, are always British Indian. So every time when I was editing, so for a filmmaker like me, when I'm editing or when we're doing the music, there's always a pull between the British version, the Indian version, British Indian. So I'm always uniquely trying to say my own version, my own story as a British Indian. But having Reliance with me was fantastic, because most English people, they don't like too much emotion. Indian people love emotion, So anytime I wanted it to be quite emotional in a sequence, and the English producers would be a little bit like, oh, I think it's too emotional, I would say, no, Reliance loved that bit. Even though I didn't even tell them, but I would say, no, Reliance loved that bit. We must keep that emotional, or we must keep this song, or we must keep this music. So for me, it was a great asset working with Reliance on the film. And actually, it went back 5 years, actually, because I